So I think everybody is here. So I'd like to move forward with our meeting. We got a big group of folks here today. Glad to have you. So first thing I'd like to do is ask Danny Ricker to come up to lead us in the invocation. And then afterwards, Tim Ward will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Lord, we're thankful for this day to come together, God, to be about your business, to take care of our city. God, we give you honor and praise and ask you to bless our all council members, our mayor, all of our city leaders, Lord, Father God, and employees. And God, we thank you as we worship you and give you praise for this Christmas season. It's all about you, Lord, and we give you honor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
If you'll place the flag, I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any mayor's comment, or not mayor's, but public comments? All right, we'll do the mayor's comments. First of all, I'd like to invite Spencer Morrell up here for just a minute. For those of y'all that don't know Spencer, he worked at the Greenville Sun for 3 years, 2 years?
4 years.
4 years, and I'll let him go from here. Do what?
Get longer all the time.
Yes.
Most of you know me. I'm Spence Morrell, but I'm here today to introduce myself as the new executive director of the Greenville City Schools Education Foundation starting in January. I'm going to be trying to fill the shoes of Amanda Waddell. That's not going to be too easy, but I'm going to do my best. I'm looking forward to working with you all and the school system and our educators to continue to build a strong foundation in education for the next generation of our town's leaders and its citizens.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
It's great. We've got somebody that went to schools here. His dad has taught here.
Did. Yep.
And it'll be a great, great thing for our community. It is a big shoe that you're, a big job you're filling. So we appreciate all Amanda has done, but welcome aboard.
Thank you. I
And I'll
appreciate that.
let you speak first so you can get to the basketball game in plenty of time.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Spencer. The next thing I would like to talk about is, Nicole, can you come up here for just a second, please? I'm going to let Kathy talk about this for just a moment.
So just wanted to take a moment and recognize Ms. Nicole Rader because she was a recently awarded the Hometown Hero Award through Modern Woodman, and she was presented a nice plaque and then along with the goodie bags. And I tried to ask her the other day when I was in her office, I said, where's that plaque that you got that recognizes you as the Hometown Hero Award? And she shows it to me from a distance, and of course I can't see that far. So I'm gonna let you share what exactly it says, but I know it's all the good work that you're doing there at the Roby.
Yeah, it was. Thank you all very much. This is unexpected, so thank you. But the plaque stated, from Modern Woodman of America, the, let's see, I can't remember it for verbatim, but he was pretty much giving hope and healing back to the aging population and offering the things that we do at the Roby Center and keeping them socially, physically, and emotionally active so they are not forgotten.
And Nicole, I just want to point out real quick, Nicole does wonderful things for the members of the Roby and provides great activities for them to do there. But Nicole goes above and beyond, and she not only works within the Roby, but she also you'll hear her at times helping other folks in the community that are in need, and she's always willing to go above and beyond to make sure everybody has food and the resources that they need. So just wanted to recognize her and say congratulations on being selected the Hometown Hero.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
The next, I'd like to invite Chris Gose and Aaron to come up for just a second. And I'm going to let them talk a little bit about this, if you would, please.
I took it from Chris a second ago.
Well, here, it is back
You
to
can have it
you.
back.
So you can read from it.
This was presented to us at the annual dinner for the Greene County Heritage Trust as a special award of merit to the T. Elmer Cox Genealogical and Historical Library. And it's just pointing out our consecutive 25 years that we've been in service to the public, and how we're planning on being there for another 25 years, 50 years, as long as we can, as long as we can be there. I'd also like to point out this group that's also here today, who did the research for the Roby Center, is a perfect example of why we exist. We're here for groups like that to come in and access our records and have total access to everything that is Greenville and Greene County. So that's why we're here. Thank you.
And I would just like to thank Christopher Gose for taking the lead in the Cox Library and moving it into the 21st century, and beginning that digitization process that's so valuable to save our records for the long term. And I think that says it. I don't know how many records we have digitized so far, but it's an enormous project, and Chris has worked on that for the last few years with grant money, and has done a fabulous job. And it's because of Chris that the Cox is what it is today. So thank you.
Well, I think that we're one of the few record systems like this in a county, because most of them have burned.
Full accountability for all the records. Kingsport lost some, or lost a lot during the Civil War. Cotton County lost the majority of theirs, so surrounding counties are limited to what they have.
Okay, so it's a real honor and historic thing that we have here in our town.
And not only historic as far as like being so esoteric and research based, but I don't know how current the records are, but a lot of people, when they had to get their real IDs, they had to come to the Cox to get their marriage certificates. So there is information stored over the Cox that's still being used and still being accessed by the public. So it is a repository for current use as well.
Okay, well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you
proud
for
of
your
that. And then on something that goes along, the town of Greenville and the city council received an award from the Heritage Trust saying that the impressive sense of public stewardship shown by the council in its decision to restore the handsome and well-loved original Greenville Town Hall cupola. What's a cupola? No, we were talking that there were some folks that didn't know what it was until this came up. And to return the cupola's memorial clock to full function. That building was built in 1965, and I sometimes think 1965 was just a couple years ago, but it is 60 years. So it was time to redo this. We had Kidwell King, who talked and did some research and climbed up in the dove dung and looked around and helped us come with a plan. And so I'm very proud that we were able to do this. I appreciate this group so much for making the funding available to take care of it. And I for one, think our town hall looks so much better than it has in many, many, many years. So thanks this group, thanks for everyone that pushed, and I'm very proud of this. The next thing is I'd like to thank Amanda for helping put together the turkey trot. I also want to thank our police and fire and all of the volunteers that participated in that. How many? 900, over 900 people? Okay, it's the biggest by far, and we will continue to grow. It was a great program to get started, and just very happy to have that going on. So thank you. We'll work again on that next year. We had the Christmas in Downtown event. I don't see Jan. Oh, there she is. She's hiding behind someone. So I appreciate that. We had a good turnout, and Kevin did a great job with the resolution that we put together, and I'm proud to be in a community that we still are proud in our faith and realize what happened, and that meant 2,000 years ago, and how important it is to our world. And then we had the Christmas parade, and there were people there even though there wasn't candy. And they loved the horses, they loved the floats. I saw a bunch of people smiling, children happy to be out and about. So I want to thank the partnership and the Exchange Club to working on that, and look forward to having that again next year. So thanks for everybody for our Christmas celebrations. Next, I would like to ask Caden Baugh to come up, he and his family, if they would like to. Or we'll just have him. Maybe y'all know Caden won the Mr. Football in the state of Tennessee. Also got the East Tennessee Player of the Year. So he's had a pretty good year this year. We just wanted to say thank you very much. The team's had a good year. You played a pro football team in the last playoff game. So we're very proud of you. We're very proud of the team, and so happy to have you. Congratulations. And if you'd like to say a few words.
Winning this award was amazing, you know, but I couldn't do it without God, my teammates, and my family. Thank you.
That might be more than you need. That might be more than you need. I just brought a bunch.
Okay. I'm also going to invite some folks up. But this one would work. I'm going to invite a couple of people up that had a chance to go to New York City. Would y'all come on up? I don't have all your names, so I apologize. Can you come up and introduce yourself? You can come around this way. So I guess you actually need to go around this way so we can see you.
Microphone for him. Fix the microphone for him.
Oh, now we got to turn back around. Come on.
I'm Madison Hughes, and I was part of the color guard in the Macy's marching band, so.
I was Ashley Lunsford, and I was also part of the Macy's color.
Yeah, but that, yeah.
I'm Brandon Knopp, and I played the trumpet in the Macy's band.
I'm Madison Moore, and I was a dancer in the Macy's band.
I'm Brooke Parsley, and I was a part of the color guard.
My name is Haley Law, and I was a part of the dance line with the Macy's marching band.
So just a couple questions. You were there at the Macy's parade. How soon did you get to go up? There for a whole week. And learn the whole plan. How many kids, how many folks were there? Okay. And all over the United States? Was our the biggest group? Oh, really? So very proud of that. And all these young folks are from Greenville High School, so I want to say we're very proud of you. And I know your parents were very proud of it too. We're gonna try to go back again next year. Maybe. It's what? Anyway, 100 years of people. I'm gonna get in here with you, and we'll take a picture. If any parents want to come up, we could, if you want to come up real quick, come on. My name's Cal. All right, congratulations. Thank you. I was talking to Macy.
Mace, that's Matt's daughter.
Macy is Matt Hughes' daughter. Matt is in our IT department. I talked to him about going to New York, and he said that was probably his second time. It was his first and last because he had seen everything he needed to see in New York City. So anyway, is that okay? First thing is our unfinished business. It's consideration to approve the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting held on November 18th, 2025. We got those last week, so we've had an opportunity to review it. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second? A second? Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 1 on our agenda is a presentation from the Roby Theater Committee. So Matt, is there anybody else going to come up and join?
Yeah, they're cute.
And David, I think you've asked to speak, so after, are you going to be part of the presentation? Okay, all right.
This is awkward. I feel like I'm in a sandwich between.
Just let Christina know what you want her to pull up, the slide.
We put the slideshow. Yes. Well, good evening, everybody. While Christina's pulling that up, I'd first like to introduce myself. I'm Matt Hensley, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the city council member for Ward 2, one of 2 city council members for Ward 2. And more importantly, I've had the honor and privilege of spending some time with a group of people over the last few, don't get too ahead of yourself now. Yeah. It's cryptid. There we go. But anyway, I've had the opportunity over the last few months to work with an incredible group of people who reached out to me after being inspired by an article written by our local historian, Mr. Tim Massey, entitled Save the Roby. And it had a lot of information about that building and its story and its rich, I guess, the lineage that it has for our community as a civic anchor and a reflection of our history and a reflection of creativity and a reflection of the amazing people we have in this community. And over the last 3 months, we have been tasked with evaluating this building because I feel, though, even though it's literally right across the street from us, it has had a huge question mark as to the full extent of what's its status. So this evening, as Paul Harvey would say, we're going to have the rest of the story about the Roby Auditorium and current status, visioning and planning, and some next steps for City Council to consider. But this isn't the Matt Hensley Show. I believe that this whole project has been grounded in a collaborative effort. So you will be hearing, City Council, you will be hearing not just from me, but from your constituents. So you may click the next slide. Nope, go back for a second. Yeah. Golly, I need the clicker, but I don't think I have another hand. So first and foremost, I'd like to recognize the committee that was commissioned for putting together this report. First off, we have Carl Close with Close Consulting. We have Mr. Dave Wright with A. Dave Wright Architecture Firm, Paige and Frank Mingle from the Greenville Theater Guild, Mr. Jeff Taylor with Greene County Partnership, Ms. Deborah Close, community member, Wes DeBrisk and Marilyn DeBrisk, community members and former artists in residence at Tusculum University. Tennessee State Representative, Mr. David Hawk, Mr. Tim Massey, Greene County Heritage Trust President, and they let me tag along for the last few months as well. And now I got 3 things to hold on to. So I'd like to begin, which I'll go ahead and give a preface. I promise this will not be death by PowerPoint. There is not really any words on these slides. A lot of it is, a lot of them are just pictures, and we're going to be telling the story through the pictures, but there is a full detailed report if you'd like to see that at some point. But what you see on the screen here is 100 years of the impact of a cultural anchor in our community known as the Haberstick Auditorium in the Roby Fitzgerald School. And as you can see from that bottom newspaper article, what I stand for if elected mayor of Greenville, that is an advertisement talking about the importance and the excitement of this new addition to the Roby School at the time and what it would mean for the community. And over the last 100 years, literally, there have been hundreds of performances. There have been civic groups meeting there, faith groups meeting there, and it's truly been a gathering place that our community called their own. Across the state, towns and cities and municipalities have all kinds of different amenities. Some have golf courses, some have country clubs. We have a community theater, and I think that is pretty darn cool. But again, I don't want you just to hear of, just from me solely about the 100 years that this auditorium has been in our community and the impact that it has had. I think you should hear from the constituents yourself. So I would like to invite 2 of the committee members who will be speaking to what the Roby Auditorium means to Greenville. So first off, I'd like to invite Ms. Marilyn DeBrisk to take the microphone, and then we'll be followed by Tennessee State Representative Mr. David Hawk.
Gosh, I don't think I should come before David, but never mind. I arrived here in 1984 with Wes and was speedily invited to help with the choreography for a musical that was happening at the Roby Center, put on by Little Theatre of Greenville. It was Annie. I may point out to the committee that Kidwell King played Daddy Warbucks, and he was excellent. And as a new arrival coming from Athens, Greece, I was really so impressed with such an incredible facility here in this small town, because this theater is a jewel. The acoustics are wonderful. You don't need a microphone. There's not a bad seat in the house, and the whole place was just magical. So I was very thrilled to see that in Greenville, Tennessee. And I think we all owe a vote of thanks to Ms. Roby for adding that auditorium, because what she did was give an incredible gift to all of us. Well, she's been empty for a while, poor little theater, but I think she's ready to get up and move again. She's sort of like the Sleeping Beauty, and she needs to be brought up to code, and that's what we're trying to do. And thank you all so much.
I'll let you have that. I'll go up there.
All right, I'm used to speaking at podiums, if that's okay with the group here. I'm David Hawk. It's an honor to serve as your 5th District State Representative. And I look in the corner of the slide right there, John Compton. I think about one of the best pieces of legislation that I've carried in my 23 years of service was a bill that revamped the University of Tennessee System Board of Directors. It had got to a point where it was just unwieldy. It was 30 members and couldn't get anything done. And we passed legislation to create a 10-member board of the Tennessee Board of Trustees University System. And John Compton was elected the first chairman and still the chairman of the board of UT System. And to this day, in newspaper articles in the Greenville Sun and other places, John will give credit to the Little Theater of Greenville as being an organization that really helped shape his future in terms of giving him the confidence to be there and to be in front of people and to speak. And I say that about John because it did the same thing for me. I spent about 30 years on and off that stage, and I didn't get to work with Marilyn as much as I would have liked, probably because I was not that talented. I couldn't sing very well, I know that. So I sing really well in the shower and in the car, 2 places. But I have to say that being part of the Little Theater really gave me the formative abilities to do the work that I do, to be able to think on my feet, to be able to communicate with folks just like you, and to communicate my thoughts and wishes with my legislative colleagues across the state of Tennessee and really other parts of the country and the world these days. As we're listening to Spencer, I'm a product of our city school system as well. I grew up here, have lived my whole life here. My daughters have grown up here. My older daughter was fortunate. I was hearing the story about the folks that got to go to New York. My older daughter, because of the performing arts, she was able to sing on stage at Carnegie Hall. She was given a gift that none other can receive. My 14-year-old just finished a production of Little Mermaid. I am a little bit biased that I would love to see the Little Theater return. I'd say this with my 14-year-old in mind, specifically what it means to be community and people facing people. And we are in a time where our young people especially are being constantly seduced by online content. They're on their phones all the time. What theater helped me do and helped her do recently is to have those personal connections, is to actually connect with people. You learn a lot about yourself when you stand in front of folks and either deliver a line or sing a song. I can't talk as well as Bobby Rader, but I try to express myself through what I've learned in the theater, and it means a lot. I would love to see the theater rebound. I've mentioned this to the committee several times that it seems to be suspended in time, and I think you may hear a little bit about that later on, but it'd be great to see the Little Theater back. Thank you all very much.
So we've heard a little, sorry. So we've been able to hear a little bit from individuals who have performed on the stage and the impact that it's had on our community. And again, if you read the report, there are even more specific examples and images of just the really demonstrating the anchor that this facility has been in our community. And so the question is, for something so wonderful and amazing and clearly has tugged at the heartstrings and been woven into the fabric of our heritage for so long, what happened in 2004 that left it dark? How did we get here? And so I have a bit of a timeline, and I would like to give kudos again to the Cox Library and to the Greenville Sun because they documented these events incredibly well. From about 2004 to 2006, a lot happened, and I think that it's important to have that context. Thank you. So starting in March of 2004, if you followed the Greenville Sun at that time, almost every day of that month, it seemed like the Haberstick Auditorium and the Little Theater were mentioned, what was going to happen. Some highlights starting in March, the auditorium was closed by the fire marshal, citing multiple code violations, including exposed wiring, lack of proper exit lighting, combustible storage, and inadequate separation between the auditorium and the adult center. I was very concerned at first about the combustible storage, and then I was quickly informed by veterans of this program that that was where they stored the paint cans. In March 17th through the 18th of 2004, the city board studies reports. The city board began reviewing inspection reports and considering options to address violations. In March 23rd, the adult center was deemed to stay open, with the auditorium remaining closed. And there were 15-minute intervals of fire watches happening until they could figure out what to do moving forward. March 24th, 2004, the auditorium side is considered fixable. A follow-up report and coverage in the Greenville Sun emphasized that the auditorium side was, in fact, not beyond demolition. And then it continues on, and essentially, we all kind of know the story. The adult center was able to receive their fire sprinkler, their life safety system, and get the needed upgrades that were required and very much needed. But a committee was formed also at that time to look at the full building, because the auditorium is very much a piece of that whole building. They're not separate, but it's sat dark since 2004. Until we find, some inspiration from our local historian and his article coming up on the 100-year anniversary, reminding us that it has been sitting vacant for the last 20 years. So, what do we know now? First and foremost, we know that the facts have not changed. We, as the committee, after we were formed in July, were putting together kind of how we wanted to eat this elephant. And they say you eat it one bite at a time. So that's what we did. And we thought that the first thing we needed to do was get that sucker cleaned up. We can't really get a good evaluation unless we know truly what's going on. And if you'd been in there in the last 20 years, it looked like snowfall all over that auditorium. And it did look bad. You're like, this is irreparable. There's nothing we can do. But this image right here is taken last month, November. We had a cleanup crew come in, and this is what it looks like right now. And again, what do we know now? If you'll click the slide, Christina. The Roby Auditorium is in sound condition. And we have exciting news to share with you, because in addition to cleanup, we were able to get an engineering firm in to give an evaluation, a structural evaluation. That engineering report is in your report that I shared with you. And I'm going to turn it now over to Mr. Carl Close and Mr. Dave Wright, who are going to share some highlights from that engineering report. And then we've also got some information about architectural feasibility, because we don't just come with problems, we come with some solutions as well. So without further ado, Mr. Close.
Excuse me, as Matt stated, you have the full report from John Jacobs in your handout. Just to paraphrase, I walked with John Jacobs along with Matt, Dave Wright, and Frank Mengel when he toured the building. His comments to me as he was walking through is he was shocked at the condition it was in. He expected it to be nasty, moldy, mildewy, and it was none of that. And as he continued walking through with us, he just couldn't get over the fact that after 20 years, it's like it had been just closed a week or so. So, not to get into all the details that he has, but he didn't see any evidence of deterioration or failure of structural components, rotted wood that might indicate leaks or anything along those lines. Structurally, it was sound, and I will leave it at that. I mean, you can read the report. It's a 2-page report that he stamped. It's in great shape. much better shape than all of us expected. I'm pleased to provide that news. Thank you.
As Matt stated, the building sat empty for over 20 years. And with that comes issues, code violations, things of that nature that needs to be addressed. Back in late spring, Todd Smith asked me to go to the building to take a look at it, to see what the possibilities might be with the building, how we might be able to address the ADA issues, how we might be able to address life safety. And so I met with several people up there on a Saturday morning, and we did look at the building, and it was not in good shape at that time as far as debris, things of that nature. But what we did was we were able to get a hold of the plan, and as was previously addressed, you can see a light green line. The gray area is the portion of the building that was addressed previously in years past with the sprinkler system. The light area, which represents the auditorium, that was the area that has not been addressed. So that's what you see right now. And with that, Todd asked me, how can we fix these issues? And in the next slide, number one, we have to get ADA accessibility to the building. So on the left-hand side of the building, facing College Street, we can easily get a ramp that would provide accessibility to the main lobby area. Also, underneath the balcony area, we can put ADA accessible toilets. Very easy to do, very, very accessible there, again, to College Street for accessibility to sewer and water. Also, we would have to replace doors to get smaller doors. We'd have to replace those with 3-foot doors. We would also have to put a chair lift that addresses accessibility to the stage. We've got area to do that. In addition, we have to get a second means of egress out of the balcony directly to the outside, and we can do that. Along with that, which you really can't see as far as the drawing goes, we have to sprinkler the building. Which is what we have done already in the gray area portion of the building. We have to provide new HVAC, new lighting, alarm systems, things of that nature. So the building can be addressed with those issues. So it's not where we can address it. It's going to be costly to do, but it can be done. Thank you.
So with that, we can see that with the building being in structurally sound condition and having these plans, the feasibility is there. It's just a matter of how do you begin to target that, and is that a priority? One other issue that I wanted to remind the council about was last month that we were made aware of the insurance liability realities of that building, of that side of the building, that wing sitting vacant, and the increased liability exposure that it gives to the entire Roby Adult Center, so much so that it has impacted our insurance coverage for the entire building. And that is paramount, because I know there is hopefully plans in the works for the Roby Center in the future, but I'm not sure that'll happen, immediately. So this needs to be addressed, if nothing else, for the adult center that is presently active there. So beyond that, we wanted to address not just the historic preservation of the building, but we also wanted to communicate the value and the vision that we see this space being. As we talked about earlier, some cities have different types of amenities. Some have, their own tennis courts. Some have their own swimming pools, golf courses, country clubs. We have a theater. So what do we want that to look like in the future, and how can it give back to us? And some of the big pieces that we've identified in this visioning, talking with different people in the community, conversing with the committee ourselves, we believe in the power of the strategic partnerships. It's not what this committee wants. It's not what the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, the City Council wants. It's what the community wants to see out of this space. And that's an exciting opportunity. First and foremost, I see this as being a multi-use civic, cultural, and educational space, primarily having a space for town departmental programming. I've had the opportunity to just talk very briefly with Nicole and with Butch of just, how could we, maybe extend some programming in different ways? Maybe not necessarily with the Roby Auditorium, but in general, how can we work with our partners in the community, like the nonprofits like the Greenville Theater Guild, to offer extracurricular programming for public speaking and the performance arts, but also the technical CTE side of theater that goes into lighting design and set design and engineering. We've also talked about, from the adult center standpoint, engaging that population in building of sets and designing the costumes, if that was a piece of it, but also using the space for their own use: film nights, lecture series, community forums, local regional music events. Again, we have, I'm going to say it, the best acoustics in East Tennessee, or so we've been told. But more importantly, a space for civic ceremonies and community celebrations and gatherings. To the date, there really is not a space that is affordable for all groups in our community to have large gatherings, and this can be, should be, could be the community space for that. And so the strategic partnerships that we've identified thus far in trying to flesh out and reimagine this space are the Greene County Heritage Trust, which I can't say thank you enough to that group for their initial support in jumpstarting this. They provided the initial funding to get it cleaned up without hesitation. They emphatically supported it. The Greene County Partnership, which I'll let Jeff talk about a little bit of that and their role in just a moment. The Greenville Theater Guild being a huge programming partner and pipeline for different performances, arts education for youth and adults. We'd love to loop in the Greenville City School Systems as we talk about the opportunity for curricular and extracurricular activities happening here. For those of you that may not be aware, Greenville High School recently started a performing arts club. This could be an opportunity for them to see the full array of what this has to offer in terms of an opportunity. And then, of course, Tennessee House of Representatives member Mr. David Hawk, and then also local businesses and nonprofits as well. We want this to be the community's auditorium and space. And so, without further ado, now I'd like to talk about, beyond just what the vision and value could be, but show me the money and what the direct impact could be. So take it away.
Be glad to. Council and obviously community, always an honor to stand before you and discuss possibilities to improve the quality of life for not only Greene County, not only for Greenville, but all of Greene County. Tourism, as we know, is a big business for us, as Commissioner Ezell says over and over again, and as tourism reports up to Commissioner McWhorter through the Department of Community Development, Economic and Community Development. Greene County is number 22 in tourism. It is a $114 million economic impact, just doesn't sit right, to our economy, which ultimately saves $370 per household in taxes. We continue to see that number increase every year, and it's because, largely in part, because collaborative efforts to diversify our tourism offerings. We are very blessed to be the home, some say yes and some say no, but when you're a presidential town, that's a blessing. Not everybody has a president, a presidential home and libraries that bring a lot of folks here, but we also have other assets that we continue to diversify to increase our economic impact. I thought there was an interesting point, and I'll also say this, food service, lodging, arts, and entertainment equals 7.8% of our employment or employers in Greene County. And so again, it is a large number it is an impactful number to our economy. But I thought it was interesting that it was just mentioned. So one performance, 1,400 attendees, as David, Representative Hawk said,
That was $21,000 in ticket sales. Think about that. One performance over one weekend was $21,000 pushed into our local economy, because that does drive additional spending. And what we also know is that arts and entertainment, culture investments yields 3 to 7 times. It's a multiplier effect, so it has one of the higher multipliers when it comes to local recycling of dollars. And cultural tourists tend to spend 60% more than a typical tourist. But the beauty of this building, it has this rich history. It's multi-purposed, and so besides looking at a conference like the Lost State of Franklin Writers Conference that we're looking to rebirth, it's a beautiful space for it. Secondly, instructional camps. So those of us that have paid lots of money to have children attend football, basketball, soccer, now there's cheerleading, baton twirling, you pick it. There's an instructional camp for every one of your desires. We have that opportunity to do that in this space as well. So yet again, stretching an economic impact driver to broaden our abilities to bring additional tax dollars into the community. Ultimately, yeah, do we think that we could pull off a multi-venued performing arts festival? Absolutely. And you're talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, because we would be the leader in doing that. But if you think about also, ultimately, as we continue to invest in our community, as we did with the Depot Street project, we're doing it in our facilities with what Parks and Rec, Butch and them do a beautiful job with our athletic fields. These are all things that not only improve quality of life, but also quality of place. And that's a big difference, quality of place. Quality of place is what helps us bring manufacturing and industry that carry 40% of our tax base. And again, we use this number all the time. One large investment, say the new Greenville Bottling Company, that's equivalent to 172 homes in taxes. So when we have these things that we can do, it's a bigger economic driver than just one weekend or just one dance recital. And so these amazing young students that were just here that participated in the Macy's Day Parade, there was probably a real chance that those in the color guard or the dance team were in a dance recital. That's another venue for that. And that's another economic driver, because then you've got to have tap shoes and ballet shoes. My daughter was briefly in dance. That didn't go well for her. She's a soccer player. But it creates jobs that go beyond just the theater. So when we look at the economic impact, we can look at it in ticket sales, but we also can look at it, what else does it drive to get here? So thank you as always, and always glad to help and be a partner.
Thank you so much. So the next two slides, and I said I wasn't going to have a lot of words on these slides, so I'm not going to read these to you because you have them in your reports. But the next two slides are matrices that I had created. And if I had to pick one component of this entire report that probably took hours upon hours, it would be this matrix. In the top corner, it says Greenville Forward Comprehensive Plan. So a few moons ago, I had the opportunity to work with the late Jeff Woods in our building planning and zoning department. And Bert can attest to this. And a very exciting thing was happening in 2015. We were in the midst of developing our comprehensive plan and really visioning, what do we want Greenville to be? I always have aspired, and I still to this day believe, that Greenville needs to be the destination and not the pit stop. And it begins with investing strategically and purposefully in assets that speak to what our community wants. And that's what this matrix shows. In that column under Greenville Forward Comprehensive Plan, those are all pieces of information pulled directly from that document, 200 and something odd pages of it, what the Roby Auditorium project envisions to do, and then what the impact and the alignment is to that. So this isn't just a pet project that someone has. This isn't the Matt Hensley show. This is truly helping us achieve, potentially, some of our larger goals that we set out almost 10 years ago at this point. So I'll let you all check that out at your leisure. And the next slide shows a few more of those alignment factors. So getting close to the end here, I promise. Wise presidents once told me that if you begin the next statement with "in conclusion," then people start to perk up. So if you were there, you had to be there to know what I'm talking about. But what's the cost of waiting? Christina, if you'll hit the slide. So far, 20 years of deferred maintenance has been the cost of waiting. Things are not getting any cheaper. If you'll hit it again, Christina. The cost of waiting is misinformation. And ladies and gentlemen, that's probably the most dangerous piece, if I had to pick one out of the two there. When this was first brought up, there was fallacy spread that it was condemned, that the building was condemned, that it was irreparable, that it was, y'all, that was not true. It was not true. And all it took was to do a little bit of digging, bring a few people of the community together, and to realize that. But again, any one of you all could, with a Google search bar, could have found this out, because this is all coming from our great local news reporting of what really happened 20 years ago. So recommendations and path forward. Again, not to bore you all with the full report, but we envision 4 steps to this as far as next steps. First and foremost, in the engineer's evaluation, we received a recommendation that if we were to proceed with the project, that we would need to look at doing a full schematic design and estimate based on the conceptual drawings that we have from Dave Wright. We also would like to start forming a partnership council, because when we look at sustainability, and if you look at the history going back, the theater went vacant when the Little Theater of Greenville decided to move to the Capitol. The town didn't have a tenant to fill that space. And we don't want that to happen. You don't want to repeat history. So we want a partnership council to where we have committed individuals that will keep this space occupied and used for whatever. We've been working with the partnership on what that could look like from a logistics standpoint. And then I know the big question that everyone is thinking, how are we going to pay for it? Well, we envision a multi-source funding mechanism for this. Obviously, there would be some municipal capital investment, but because of the partnerships that we're trying to form with this, we are positioned to be the potential recipients of a variety of grants, which is exciting. Also tourism, ECD funds. I would love to partner with our local governmental bodies and talk about how we can make this an asset for them as well. That's very important in this project. And then also looking at private philanthropy and naming opportunities to provide access to support this for everyone, short-term commitment as well as long-term, which I think could be a very exciting campaign for our community. I know I would love to have my name on the seat of a chair in there. Maybe you would too. And then, of course, corporate sponsorships. And so the last bullet there says phased restoration. I've broken this down into 3, what I consider to be achievable phases, because again, we're not going to tackle this tomorrow. I don't expect us to write a check to completely do what we're trying to do here. It's going to take time, and it should, because we want to get what's best for our community. But the first phase I would like to see is stabilization and addressing urgent repairs. That's what I envision first. Getting people in that space is important. Right now, technically, we can't have anyone in there because it is non-compliance or code non-compliance. Those issues still exist. In phase 2, I'd like to see interior renovation. The committee would like to see interior renovation and systems modernization. And then phase 3, begin launching community programming with our partners and really living out the long-term sustainability operating framework. I think you can hit it again, Christina. You can leave it there. So last piece here is we believe the Roby Auditorium deserves its encore. As I was preparing to speak and address the council and the community today, I was reminded by some very wise words from one of my all-time favorite radio personalities, Mr. Paul Harvey, who said, "In times like these, it helps to recall there have always been times like these." I believe this wisdom is particularly germane of where we're at because every generation has faced its own moment in history where the past and the future meet, and we have to make decisions to protect what really matters. And I think I've always believed that living in a historic community is really, really cool, but it also comes with really real responsibility. And we have an opportunity and an obligation to take care of our things and be stewards of what was left to us before. So if you'll hit it, last one. So we have a request. We understand that there is no deliberation or discussion or decision-making today. But we would like to request, the committee would like to request that the following item be added to a future city council agenda in January, after you all have had time to read the full report, ask and answer questions that you might have. But we would like for you all to consider approving us to move forward with formal planning and partnership development for the revitalization of the Roby Auditorium. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you all for putting together all of this information and the program that you put together. I guess there's always one of these buts. We've got the buts of the Roby Center. What are we going to do about our older adult people? We've got to come up with a way to take care of those folks, because how many members do we have now, Nicole? Almost 1,400. So that's a big part of our community. We've had a group come talk to us about the George Clem building and how we might be able to build it and what kind of things we can do over there. We've got some pretty significant plans for our school system to do some things. So I think we're really going to have to sit together as a group and say, here's what we got. Those guys in Nashville won't let us raise taxes too much because people get mad about it. But we've got these monies that we're going to have to spend. So how best do we spend those monies? So again, I really appreciate your help. Who's going to reach out to John Compton and see if he might just fund all this? Tim, you think you could do that?
Hopefully he's listening out here in Radio Land.
Do what? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. And it's a great presentation. I just wonder what happened in 2004.
A lot. Read your report.
I'll do that. Thank you. All right, item 8.2.
I think it was actually shut down after Jeff Taylor danced on the stage. No, it was not, but I've got photos.
All right, item 8.2 is consideration to approve the Greenville Water Commission to submit a loan application in the amount of up to $25 million through TDEC State Revolving Fund Program. Hello, Laura. First, I think you've got something to say.
Speaking of dance recitals, I could almost do a dance now. We are back on electric pumps now at the river. The auxiliary pumps are just that, auxiliary pumps, and we're so excited. But it has been a long road. It's been over a year. You all know that, and I do appreciate everyone's cooperation and help. And Kathy, thank you for all that you've helped us with a lot of the applications and things that we've done. But we went to I guess it was a class back at December the 2nd on state revolving fund loan money. And they had state revolving funds usually in March is when the applications are. But this past March, they said that they were going to do a special SRF for Helene. So we've been waiting and waiting and waiting on that. And they finally released that back in the end of November. So what this will do for us, as we know, FEMA does not get in a great big hurry. So they have capped our project at the river at $37 million. We're not saying we're going to spend that much, but that's what, if we were to rebuild the whole building today, that's what it would be, is around $37,615. Our engineers, their scope of work estimate is $25 million this includes getting back into the building, which we partially are. We're back on the pumps. We've still got to build on top of the building the additional story and some of the expansion work that needs to be done out there. A lot of the stabilization. There's a lot of things that we're going to have to do to harden that facility so that we'll be able to sustain it for a lot longer. So we also want to thank the county because we have been utilizing the HIL fund money. And they did bump that up to, we've got about $20 million in the HIL fund. To date, I think Casey, our accountant, has said that we're at about $7.6 million so far that we've spent out of pocket, unbudgeted money. So it's hard to cash flow these things right now. And they told us during this meeting that the application is due January the 5th, which they tell you the end of November and the application's due January the 5th. So it's kind of, I knew that you all wouldn't meet prior to that deadline, and our meeting with my board is not until the 30th. So I thought I'd better get this show on the road a little bit. With this SRF funds, they are estimating between a 1% and 2% interest rate. So I don't think that Andrew Johnson's going to beat that today. So Dougie's not here, so I can't say that. We can use it for a bridge loan, like I said, and the SRF can assist to make sure that any loan forgiveness that we might have with any of the other loans that we have, the loan forgiveness and the FEMA portion are going to have to be kept separate. So if they do decide, there has been talks that the SRF will have certain loan forgiveness measures up to, depending on I can't remember the actual, what is that acronym, our standing, our percentage in the community. Greenville's one and Greene County has another of your standing in the community as how far they can give the reductions. But they can do up to 75% of the loan reduction. But we don't know how that'll work since it's two federal entities. If we can do both. So, but we can draw down the invoices or draw down the loan as invoices are received. And they did mention that you can submit the invoices directly to SRF instead of having to go through a lot of the other hoops that we have to go through with FEMA. And the $25 million, I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. We can borrow a lower amount, but they said that the application process would take up to 6 to 8 months. So by the time that rolls around, we'll know how much we need, and we can't reapply for more. So we thought that we would go with what the engineer's scope of work estimate was, which was 25.1. So we're going with the 25 million. And if we see, 8 months from now that we only need 10 million, we can do that. We can give back the other 10. It's not like they're going to penalize us for any type of early payoff. So I guess what I'm asking for is permission to submit that application to SRF for the additional funding to help us get that intake back to where it needs to be and to be sustainable for the future. Questions?
You say 1.5%?
They said 1 to 2%.
I thought it was like 3.
Yeah.
And SRF money, supposedly forgiveness is going to go away in 27. Is that correct?
I don't know.
That's what I'm hearing.
They talked about different forgiveness rates, and they said at least 50% forgiveness, but it could be up to 75%. But we don't know how that works with FEMA. It's kind of a slippery slope sometimes.
Are they working, FEMA's working with SRF? FEMA's federal and SRF state, so.
Yes, but
Didn't know that.
the forgiveness portion, they don't know how that will work. If FEMA is, Casey, you want to help me with that? Casey's spoken with them before on that, so she can probably explain that better.
Revolving loan fund, but there are federal dollars that flow through there.
Okay.
So we need to make sure we're not double dipping in any form. They said that they've worked with other communities in the past that have used funds to cash flow FEMA projects. And so mainly we just have to notate that in our application, and they will help us make sure that we are not double dipping, that we keep those completely separate. So if there were to be loan forgiveness, it would be on expenses not submitted to FEMA. If it's our match, there won't be loan forgiveness, but it still gives us the option to cash flow anything we need above the HEAL money at a low interest rate.
What I understand, the application's due by January 5th, but if we put in for the 25 million and it comes out to be what the forgiveness plus the loan that you cannot accept from, if FEMA says you can't accept that. So if it ends up being $5 million, that's all you're going to borrow.
Yeah,
And get forgiveness. That's right. No, what I understand is you don't have to take what you're going to put in that application.
Exactly, but you can't resubmit.
That's-
for
I
more.
understand
So
that.
they said, go for the gusto. If you know, go
Yeah,
for
and
what you
What
need
I'm
right
understanding,
now.
like I said, any forgiveness may be going away, but, who knows? That's a year and a half's a long time away.
Yeah, and they said it would take at least 8 months to process the applications.
They are online applications though, right? Which are
Yeah.
pretty easy to get. Okay, good.
They're probably working with other water commissions also, huh? We have a request. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Oh,
Is there any further discussion? Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries.
About the
Thanks.
Roby Center, that brought back memories. I did have dance recitals there. So
Oh, did you?
they did, yeah. And that's been a year or two ago.
All right, item 8.3 is discussion and consideration to approve position profile, job description, along with method and time of advertisement for city manager position. We had a workshop a couple of weeks ago and worked with Pete Auger from MTAS and went over the job description and other activities that we're talking about. And there were some questions about it, and we spent probably 4 hours talking about it. So I'm going to let Kathy spend a couple minutes to what we have cleaned up and go from there.
So in this report, you can look at this full report, I should say, too, on the City Council website. So if you go under the City Council website, under meeting agendas, the whole packet is there at your leisure if you want to read the 20-plus pages. But this goes through several different components where Pete interviewed and met with each city council member individually. He also met with department heads individually and collectively. And then I believe he reached out to a few folks in the community just to kind of gather some feedback on what the town is looking for in the next city manager. And with that, I think on maybe page 13. I think 13, well, actually, start right there, Christina. That kind of shows a timeline of a tentative schedule of how this was going to look. I will say on that timeline, they're a little behind by about a month. We had some conflicts with scheduling for our public workshop, so we're probably more in that February timeframe now. But the process is today, as we go through this report that obviously City Council's seen in the public workshop, to go over and now ask in a formal meeting for them to approve the job description, the position profile, which we'll get to in just a second, along with how they want to advertise and how long. And so with this timeline, since we just met and now we're going over this part, if the job description, position profile, and all of those things are approved today, then Pete Auger with MTAS says that he can post this position by Friday of this week. And then in one of the parts, it says, how long do you want to advertise and accept applications? And so his recommendation is normally 30 to 40 days to do that. And anybody that is interested in applying for the city manager position would then email their resume and any kind of references to him directly, because this will not go through town HR. It will go directly to Pete Auger as our MTAS consultant on this matter. But after they get all the applicants and then the city council and Pete review the applications, the resumes, then they can narrow that down and then start the next process, which would be doing public interviews. And there, in the report, it suggests different ways where the city council can do those public interviews. And then at that point, after they do that, then they could then potentially offer that position to someone probably in the timeframe of February, March. Do you all agree with that? And so then, Christina, if you'll go, I think it's on page 10 maybe, it's the position profile. I think it's on page 10. It might
job
be.
description.
Well, I was going to go to the position profile first, if you can find that in there. That might be on
13.
page
13.
13. There's a lot of pages in here. But on page 13, the position profile is really just for those that might apply that are not familiar with Greenville, if it's an outside applicant. And it kind of just gives them a little description of our beautiful town that we live in and why you might want to live in Greenville and be a part of this community. And then it goes on page, I believe, 10 of the packet through page 13.
12.
There is a revised job description, and that coincides with our charter now. So Pete did make some adjustments to it, but it still mirrors our charter so that we wouldn't need a charter change for that. So that's in there as well. And then the pages kind of go back and forth with this packet. And then the other thing, it also tells in the report, based off of feedback from the department heads, from city council, and from some folks in the community, what they're looking for, what they kind of characteristics of what they would like to see in a city manager, how they would like for some of the things for them to focus on, and some of the things they want to focus on is collaboration, building strong relationships with different community partners, working on our infrastructure needs and our traffic and parking needs. So there's a variety of list of some of the priorities for the next city manager to focus on, and then method of advertisement. So, like I said, if this is approved today, Pete said he could get this out to local media, and then not only local but regionally, but also reach out to, he can put it on the MTAS website and on the TML website, which are free options that we can go through. Another part was listed if we wanted to broaden our scope and broaden our reach, we could put it on the ICMA website, which is more of a national search, but of course there's a cost to that one, and it's expensive. So that would be up to the city council as to what level they want to advertise at this point, locally, regionally, and at the state level, or if they want to go national. And then per his recommendation, like I said, was 30 to 40 days to take resumes for this, and I think that pretty much covers it. But I would suggest if you're interested in looking through the full report, it is listed on the town's website under meeting agendas. The full packet's listed there.
I've talked with Pete quite a bit, and some of the recruiting I've done in the past found that folks that are kind of from this region sometimes fit in better in our region. So I think we should start kind of regionally, and then look, other than Scott, start regionally. And if we don't get good people coming in, then maybe go look at other places. So I hope that if you are here or you're watching and you look at this information, you'll see what you think and let us know. But I hope we can get it started. We've waited a little while to sort of let things settle down a bit, but I think we're ready to get going and get moving forward. So do I hear a motion to approve?
I have a question, but first off, I would like to just, in the interest for housekeeping, I am an employee of MTAS, and I happen to be a consultant, so I've not had any access to this information before, the other city council members, so go ahead and clear the record there. But I do have a question. I know that one of the points that got brought up was the residency requirement. Have we decided whether we are going to amend that or change the language from preferred to live in town. We want to require to live in town. I know that was a point that got brought up, so I was just curious.
And I think he heard some discussion about that. He made, he changed that in the report here. And
Yeah, I saw that he changed it to required. That's why I wanted to discuss whether or not that was, are we keeping that? I just know that was a point that got brought up. Do we want to?
I think based on our conversation there, it was lean, most everybody said they thought that was an important part of the,
I would rather have the word preferred.
well, I'd like to have has, so.
Sorry.
I would like to have it's required.
Okay.
And if we want, we could take a or I guess we could take a vote on that.
I mean, do our other council members have anything?
I don't have any problem with requiring it.
I prefer they live in town, yes.
And we do need to change the tentative schedule.
Yes.
I thought he was going to, but
well, what you're voting on today is more so for him to approve the position profile, the job description, and the method and time of advertisement. And then he can make adjustments to this report. But it's more so at this point, if you're okay with those, to move forward, and then he can make adjustments to that timeline. And it's already, if the consensus is to make it where they are required to live in the city, I believe that would stay the same.
so we are not voting on this document, right?
No, you're not voting on the document, you're just voting on the actual process. This was just his report, but you're voting actually on parts of the report, which is the position profile, the job description. How do you want to advertise this? And I think you all pretty much said up here, you're wanting to do locally, regionally, and keep it within the state through MTAS and TML, and then going with his recommendation of 30 to 40 days.
Correct.
And I can ask him to make those adjustments on that timeline. I believe that's the only adjustment to be made at this point, if the consensus is for that individual to live in the city.
I think you're narrowing your pond of people you're looking for by doing that. If we want to put some, I know everybody on the council doesn't have a problem living here. I don't either. Rather them live here. But I don't want to narrow that search down if they found a house in our county and lived in the county. But we could say you have 12 months to move into the city limits if you are selected for the job,
Well,
or something like that. But I don't want to narrow that search down to live in the city right now.
Well, and I think if we say you have to live in the town and they come up and say, well, I can't find anything right now, I'm going to build, we could work that out. But I do think.
I think that's what I just said. That,
Well, but why do you say it's going to be requested when it's going to be required? Because if I say.
no, I said preferred.
If we say it's preferred and he comes in, her, them, it, and we hire them, and they say, no, I'm not coming to town. You said it was
That might be a problem. I've
Yeah.
got a problem with that.
So I guess that's why create that problem. That's my point.
Are you saying if we did do a year requirement to move into the city limits, and they said, I can't find anything, I'm not going to move in?
No. I'm saying that if they come in and they say it's going to be 6 months, 12 months, I think this house, I don't have one right now. I'm going to build a house, but we have to have some kind of a timetable.
Oh, okay.
Does that make
That's what I said.
sense?
Yep, that's what I said, 12 months. I mean, surely that's long enough.
And I wonder if you could work out the fine details of that during your interview process and in the agreement contract that is established too.
Yeah. Tim, didn't we do that once with our department heads?
All department heads at one time.
And
were
gave them a year?
6 months.
Give them 6
It was
months?
6 months, but somehow that was done away with. But
Well, and that we had some of the department heads saying, are you going to make everybody move here? And I don't think that's our intent. I think this,
No.
if you are the highest paid person in town and you're making tax decisions and recommendations, you need to be involved in that and be a part of that. That's my belief.
Well, our thinking back then, I think in '99, where all department heads are the highest paid employees of the town. And I understand that city manager is the highest paid, but the ones right under, they're paid solely by taxpayers' money of the city.
Right.
So that's why I thought it'd be a good idea to move into the city. At one time, it was talked about making everybody that worked in the city live in the city, but that's just not feasible.
Right.
I mean, we don't have the places to live. But there's no sense in dwelling on the history, but I don't have a problem saying what we just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second? Second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Will you call Pete tomorrow? I will also. Thank you, guys and gal.
Gal.
Huh?
You call me a gal.
Guys and gals.
Yes. How about doll?
No, I don't think I'll do that one. Okay, item 8.4 is consideration to allow the interim city manager to negotiate an agreement for the division of real estate on Hal Hennard Road. I'd like to ask Mayor Morrison and you're not a mayor back there, are you? And Roger Woolsey to come up for just a minute, please. And I'll let Kathy start talking about this.
So we've been working on this agreement for a little bit now, and so just to kind of, Christina, oh, you got that already up. So this is involving 2 parcels of land to negotiate, and the first one is listed there at 73.01, and the town owns 1/3 of that piece of land, and the Greene County the County School Board of Education owns the other 2/3. And with this agreement, it is being requested if the town would convey their 1/3. And I'll let Mayor Morrison can speak to the other portion with the 2/3, but I believe all of that is going to go to Greene County if agreed upon today. Correct on that one?
Yes, ma'am.
And then on the other piece of parcel there, which is listed, I can't see that number on there, but it's one to the left, is that 8.12? That one right there is a parcel of land that's also owned 1/3 by the town and 2/3 by the county. And with that, the division would be for the town to own the whole strip of land there where it's the ball fields and the tennis courts, and then the county would assume the gun range, the firing complex, along with the land surrounding that. And with that, there's also a 50-foot right-of-way in between GCTA and the tennis courts there that is going to be worked through, because right now there is a home on that piece of land. And I think after discussion, we've all realized that residential home up in there in the corner left on the 73.01 is probably not in the best location to be near a gun range. That poses a potential liability and a risk there. Also, that is zoned for M2. It's either M1 or M2. And so that would be a very hard piece of property to sell just because of how it's zoned, and it would be very hard to rezone that small home on that piece of property, simply because that would be considered spot zoning at that point in time. So with this, we're asking for us to further negotiate that, and the town would then own exclusively the ball fields, the tennis courts, and then the county would be consuming the remainder piece of property. And with that, Mayor, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but with this potential swap, The county has agreed to pay $75,000 toward tennis court repairs. And there is some easements where we can get to the ball fields. And then there's a drainage easement there to protect the town around the tennis courts. I think it's a 15-foot drainage easement. But mainly us, the town would be consuming the ownership, exclusive ownership of the ball fields and the tennis courts and working through the details of that 50-foot right-of-way. And then county schools working with the county on their 2/3 property. And with that too, there is an MOU next on the agenda where the county is going to, since they'll be owning the gun range, the fire complex, that they would allow our law enforcement to keep using the gun range as they have in the past. And I do know, we'll get to that item next, but I do know that one of the questions is, will there be a fee for the local law enforcement to use that? And when I read through that, it basically states that if any fee would be proposed to local law enforcement for the town, it would be if there was perhaps needing the gun range committee or the gun range person to be there on staff, right? Is that correct? I know that Mayor Morrison, you've been working, I assume, with Tim Ward, as he's the chairman of the range committee, I believe, on that portion.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to pick my partners. Sorry about that, Mr. Councilman. Yeah, when we first started to discuss this was, you know, it was raised as a question. I know when the gun range was established, it was understood, although there wasn't anything in black and white writing, that said our local law enforcement agencies would not be charged for use of the gun range. And if we have to qualify that in the form of an MOU or a document, I'm happy to do that, because I unequivocally stated down at the gun range for the committee, which is a committee that the mayor appoints, that we are not, and we can get Mr. Woods to put that in the MOU, or Mr. Woolsey, or whoever needs to hear it, but when the rest of us aren't here at some point in time in the future, that we are not going to charge our local law enforcement for use of a shooting range that we have put time, effort, and sweat equity into. So, and we can make that for perpetuity. So, I give Mayor Doty credit for recognizing the fact that we have that that residence somewhat in the middle of the operation, as saying we probably need to consider getting rid of that. I know the firing range committee was the same way, because if we ever lose control of that, then we could potentially have a residence right there in the middle of all of that complains about the lights at the tennis courts. They complain about noise on the gun range. That's not really a safe place to be, in my view, next to a gun range, being downrange there. So I think it's sort of agreed, or it has been somewhat tacitly agreed by all parties, to say we just need to tear that residence down and be done with it. So I've stepped forward to say that the county would be willing to do that as somewhat of a broker piece for the school system, to say if you will allow us to do that, then the city school system or the town wouldn't be out any money. The county school system wouldn't be out any money, and we would bear the brunt to ensure, for instance, that there wouldn't be any residents up there. So I think we've got a good plan as far as the plats that were laid out. I can't see anything being on any of that property in the future. It's really not fit for goats. And of course, the safety factor with the gun range, it also adds an extra buffer for noise and anything like that. That way we don't have anybody right there in the middle of our operation that can complain with noise, light, noxious odors, that sort of thing, safety. Because I could see at some point in time, if we allow that and lose control of that, you could have kids playing back there. And of course, they're going to wander through the woods and whatnot, and that could present us a very, very high liability safety problem.
And the swap with the county getting the gun range and the town getting the softball and tennis courts, that fits our Parks and Rec better for sure. And probably it's better for you to have that piece of property too.
Well, I think there's some grant monies tied up in the
Both.
in the construction of the
Of the
ball
tennis court,
fields
the ball
and
fields, the
tennis
ten-
courts and
yep.
things like that. So, you know,
And the gun
we're happy
range
to leave
also,
it like
right?
that.
Yes.
For both,
And the gun
really,
range
because so
also.
then it would, with this potential division of real estate, the town, if accepted, would take ownership of all the grant responsibilities with the complex, with the ball fields and the tennis courts, and then the county would assume all the responsibilities that come with the grants that you've received for the gun range.
And as far as I lost my train of thought there for a second. With the grants, then there's a clear delineation between what you all are responsible for, what we're responsible for, and once again, I think it's a very, very good plan. So that.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
And that's with the $75,000. And we're assured that the school system's given the 75 also?
So the county has already budgeted 75,000 in their FY '26.
Yes, that's one of the reasons, Madam Manager, that we're sort of pressing for a sense of urgency to get this done, because in our resolution that was passed with the budget, which, I mean, we want to try to do the right thing and not leave people high and dry. And we know that there's been some problems with the tennis courts that we want to see rectified for our kids. And so the county, the budget committee and leadership set aside $75,000, which was somewhat an agreement to say, okay, if you'll put 75 in and you'll put 75 in and we'll put 75 in, we can fix these tennis courts. But that resolution runs out in June 30th of 2026. And it's tied to this land swap right here. So I really don't want to see that go away, because it's very hard to get that funding back or put back into the budget once it's gone. I think the county commission did a very noble thing in doing that, but I want to see that plan fulfilled so that we get our tennis courts fixed and that sort of thing, so.
And speaking to the city schools, I spoke with Steve Starnes, and the city schools went ahead and budgeted $27,000 originally for this year's budget, because when we were discussing all this early on, repairs were around $27,000, but they did also have it in there that he could easily go back to the city schools board, and he said he could do that in January to request the additional 48 to get it to the 75, because started out at 27, but there was up to 75, so that could be added to his January meeting schedule. He did tell me that and confirmed that with me.
And I think the estimate to repair the tennis courts have changed just a little bit.
Yes, so when we met in probably early spring last year, Amanda, is that correct? I can't remember exactly. When we met in early spring, the cost then to repair, there was two different quotes. To repair the tennis courts was about $27,000. That's why the city schools had done that. And then to reconstruct 3 of the courts, originally it was $223, and then that quote expired. And so then come September of this year, we got an updated quote, and it's right around $248. And then in the midst of while we're working on this agreement to divide up this real estate, Butch asked the company to come back out to the tennis courts and just kind of give it an overall look. And he has got some updated quotes so that we can bring back before you, once this agreement is, if it approves, then we can come back before you and give you options at that point, which would still cover the amount we've already originally said, 75 and 75 and 75. But he has given us a quote to reconstruct 3 courts or to repair all 6, along with, if we wanted to add to it, to convert the 2 clay courts into hard courts. So we do have different options to choose from once I believe the town at that point owns the property, and how we want to move forward with that. I know time is of the essence when it comes to the tennis, because the season will be here soon, but I know that even when we spoke early in the spring or even in the fall, they were booked. So it'll be a challenge to get the courts repaired by the spring season.
And Butch has done a lot of work in his team on this, and we're gonna be short money.
Mm-hmm.
Either way we turn on it, and it's gonna be an ongoing maintenance issue every 5 to 7 years, Butch.
Yeah, could be 3 to 5. What about this is, when you say reconstruct, that's totally going back. Surface. What it says, it's resurfacing the courts, filling the cracks, and all of those things. So, as Kathy alluded to, you will have some options, about 5 different ways you know. Just keep in mind, reconstruction is totally different than resurface. Construction, as I said, that's basically the nuclear option of going and leveling everything we got and building a new house, so to speak.
Didn't the folks that come in that you've met with say that resurfacing should be
They felt like that
sufficient?
that would be the better option, surface, and so then pricing, option of, I think it's $248 of just handling 3 courts. Have an option of resurfacing all 6, 2 clay courts into hard courts for right at $250. Surfacing will last, what'll happen is, and test of this, basically what Baseline said was an asphalt situation. People that built the courts were the ones that came back. Down there and look in 11-foot sections where they laid the asphalt. That's where things started coming apart, just like it would in a road. Taken 17 years to get to this point. So when you go back and you resurface, and it's going to look all nice and shiny and everything else, but you may see some spider webs, okay? That could be 3 to 5 years. You can see some spider webs, but it's not going to be the situation it is now. Basically, most courts are being resurfaced every 5 to 7 years. The resurfacing quote for 3 courts, as Kathy alluded to, was it's now 30. They had put in 27, it's now 30. And so to do all 6. Quotes to do all 6 plus variety of options of what you want to do.
Well, and the Tennis Association has reached out to me, and they still want to try to be involved in this in some way. So we need to talk with them and get them, see if they've got any money. We also need to make sure that we have some sort of an agreement that if the last one said that they would take care of it, and that didn't happen. So how can we make that a little bit more as a...
That's the only reason I brought this up, Mayor, is because if we vote on this tonight, the so-called land swap, we're on our own with the school system.
Right.
With the $75,000 they're offering.
Right.
So I want everybody to be aware of what this is going to cost us just for the next 5 years, which is a lot more than 3 times $75,000. Unless the tennis association would kick in.
Right.
And a new agreement will have to be established if that's, if the town wants to establish a new relationship with the tennis association, because the county is included in that agreement. And if the town's going to take full ownership of that, that would exclude them, so a new agreement would have to be established either way.
Okay, well, we have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mayor. Item 8.5. I don't have my glasses on. 8.6, no, 8.5 is consideration to approve a memorandum of understanding for the Greenville Police Department to use the Greene County Firing Range and Firearms Sports Complex. Mr. Ward, do you want to speak to this? Or we kind of spoke to it, didn't we?
Kind of spoke to it, and Mayor Morrison alluded to it. If you see something in this document that you don't think fits the bill, then we can tinker with it. But the assurance is going to be there that our law enforcement can use the range, and not just our law enforcement, but Mossine, Belton, and Tusculum as well. That's been the whole purpose of the range committee throughout, is to make sure everybody was going to be taken care of in regards to doing what they needed to do.
Is that all law enforcement? I know the Secret Service came down and qualified every couple of months.
We've got a contract with Walter State, we've got a contract with TBI, we've got a contract with the THP and other agencies who are paying a fee to use the range, basically because they got a training budget. So they're going to pay to use it somewhere, but for our hometown people, for our homegrown people, we're taking care of them because this is a community venture. So that's kind of where we're at with it. That's been voted on, Mayor, 5 times, 6 times unanimously by the board to take care of our county people time and time again. And THP and DBI and the other entities using it have been very gracious about paying because they know there are costs that have been incurred for this. We got personnel there every day. We've got things that they get used up, target backing, frames, that kind of thing. So they've been very, very good about seeing the value of that range and paying accordingly.
And if you, Christine, I told you the wrong page, but if you pull it up on page 48 of the packet, this kind of covers what Mayor Morrison just alluded to earlier and what Tim just said too, that if the agency agrees to pay the county a fee, if any, and that's only if it requires the presence of firing range personnel. And from what I take, that's not normally.
Everybody brings their own.
Yep.
So I'm saying we have a firearms instructor in the town, so we wouldn't need them, correct?
Most shifts have their own.
Okay.
So there's probably, Tim, I don't know, 20 in the department at this point.
Have several.
Yep.
Has Ron Woods gone over this?
I think Ron wrote it.
Yeah.
Ron wrote it, then he's gone over it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Item 8.6 is discussion and consideration to approve design options for pedestrian walkway on Depot Street. Hello, Mr. Wright.
Wish I could tell you that it was going to get any easier, but it's not. So we're going to look at 2 different options for the proverbial 2-foot walkway from Crowfoot Alley to Depot Street. We're trying to connect 172 feet, about 10 feet wide, 8 foot, 8 inch difference. And the thing that's making it a little bit difficult is we're working in 10 feet. That's basically 5 of these roof squares, 172 feet long. And The preferred way is to put a ramp system in, to connect Crowfoot Alley to Depot Street. And what you see in the plan is the ramp system. It's 30 feet, a rest area, 30 feet, a rest area, until we get down to Depot Street. The thing that makes it difficult is we have to build those two walls. We have to protect the antique shop, and then we have to protect the beer garden, and it's a retaining wall that's filled with crushed stone and concrete, and it's making it very, very difficult from a logistical standpoint and also a cost standpoint. I know we were given $300,000 to try to get this done, and I've been working with the contractor here in town, and this design is approaching about 360 to 380. So we're getting well above the allotted monies. And this is a rendering of what we would look at. Again, it would be brick separating the beer garden with a protective fence, so that would keep some visitors from accessing that area when it shouldn't be. So again, we have to protect the beer garden. We also have to protect the antique shop. So we started looking at a second means and method, and that was just a very simple set of steps, which is what you're looking at right now. This is looking from Depot Street back towards Crowfoot Alley, and we would be, instead of a ramp, we would have a long walk. We would have steps up to 4 foot to landing, then another 4 feet more steps. We would be able to probably easily get in within our budget that way. What's making it a little bit difficult is this doesn't address the ADA item. And we might need to talk with Ron Woods about that. From what we've seen in the code, anything new like that has to address ADA. So we may be opening ourselves up with some potential liability. So we're to do it, I guess, the right way and the preferred way, we're spending more money. It's making it a little bit difficult. Again, the 10-foot construction, again, that's like working in a tunnel, and trying to protect both of our neighbors on both sides. It's going to be difficult, and it's going to be a laborious task in doing so. So I wish I could tell you that it's going to be easy, but it's not. And in both cases, we would be doing something decorative. In both cases, we'd be having a brick, some brick pilasters, and then fencing on both design schemes. So I wanted to bring it up to the council just for your benefit, and to see maybe which direction that you do want to go. Again, I think if we do go with the steps issues, again, we may be looking at a potential liability.
Dave, let me ask you a question. This being a walkway from Crowfoot Alley, and us doing Eagles Rest right now, that is handicap accessible, would that cover us? Or any new construction has to be handicap accessible?
The way we look at it, and Gail's my ADA expert, it's anything new, and if it can be reasonable and reasonably done, we have to address it as such. We've looked at it, we've kicked it around, we've looked at this, is there any other viable solution to do so? And also in that, and talked with Andy on several occasions, a ramp system's going to throw a lot more stormwater right down on the Depot Street. The way that Depot Street was designed, we were hoping to get our stormwater at each of the level areas and then pipe it underneath into the storm system. But the way it's designed, we've got vaults down there, right, Andy? And they're going to be too deep to access the stormwater on Depot Street. So again, that's making it much more difficult. And we've looked at several avenues, several other issues several other items that we might be able to pick up the stormwater, and we've come just the roadblocks there as well. It's going to be an expensive sidewalk, for lack of a better word. It's so.
Are there any elevators that can be run outside?
Yeah, there are lifts.
Escalate.
Yeah, they're lifts, just like we want to, like we showed you for the Roby. But again, they're a lot of kids like to use them as toys.
They're what?
You know,
They're toys?
They like to use them as toys, and they're very, it's mechanical, it's going to tear up. They have to be maintained on a yearly basis there. So that's an item that I think I would look at last.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to give you these two options, short of not doing it all. I hate to say that, but I know that doesn't prove well. I know.
Well, you're saying one of the options is not an option.
Oh, yes, right.
So we've got one option.
Right.
Coming up with more money or.
Yeah.
And really finding a way to build it down there when there's not, the Thompsons are going to be starting back their business in March. So the only time that we would really have is January and February. So it'd
Yeah.
almost be a year before we could get started.
They could almost be made on prefab sections, couldn't they, and set in?
Yeah, I've looked at maybe
Have you
using
looked at that?
precast on it as well. And again, that's getting very costly as well. And again, working with the contractor locally, he prefers just to go ahead and let's fill it with stone, pour the concrete. That's going to be the easiest solutions.
I think you came up with a great rendering and a great design of basically what I thought you would, what I had in mind, but we can't do it, we can't do it.
And I wish we could. And again, trying to be the good neighbors there with the Thompsons, because I have been in concert with the Thompsons as well. Again, they basically start back their big business in March, which is about the same time that we would be doing our construction. And it's like they're getting a gallon and a half in a gallon jug. So I wish it was an easy task, but it's going to be a tough one. And again, costly. Again, that working within that 10-foot tunnel is not easy, because trying to stay within our property, which is that 10 feet, and not cross the line, it makes it a little bit more
Well, I
difficult.
think the Thompsons were willing to work with
Yeah.
us as long as we did it when it
Yeah.
wasn't their busy
Right.
time.
The time to start is the issue. I did want to bring it to your attention to maybe see what direction we might need to go.
Well, and Tim's point is, if we can't do, if the bridge or the strips are not an option, then that's the only option. So I guess the next is how much, can we get a real quote, or how do we go? Do we have to get an RFP, Q, X, Y, Z, J, L, M, N, O, P, or?
Well, of course, if we put it out to bid, we would get a good
Do you
quote.
have working drawings on it?
We're to the point to where
You
we've
could.
got, we're either or.
I mean, we could put it out for bid and see what it comes in, but we'd have to decide on the design, which we've only got one design.
Yeah.
I like the step options in the range.
Steps options,
But,
that's be
but
the
if
easiest.
it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about stormwater. We could grade it down at the bottom and then pipe it. We may have to take up one section of the sidewalk to get into the storm drain, because it's pretty deep.
Yeah, Andy and I have looked at several different options that we might try to address there.
I mean, you've
It's-
got a trough, you can,
Yeah.
you can grade it down at the bottom and then
Yeah.
pipe it.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna be a slick area, no matter what.
Yeah, it's still gonna be slick.
Like last week. It's
Yeah.
gonna be slick.
Yeah. Sure.
If you don't mind, I'll just address the stormwater issue is that exactly what you said, we were thinking we could put grates at all the landings and catch it. However, at the very end where we dump on the depot, there are 2 vaults in the ground directly in front of this, and one of them has power in it, the other one has fiber communications. And both of those are right at the elevation of the sidewalk, right where the pipe would need to come through to be able to hit. There's a trench drain on the street. It's only about 14 inches deep. So we can't go under those vaults. The vaults would have to be relocated, and it's going to be pretty expensive from what I've
Go
been
over
told.
'em?
No, I don't think so.
Said there's 14 inches.
Yeah, but they are at ground level, and then they drop down, but I don't think there's a way to, they're not gonna let us run water.
Oh.
I mean, this is a high voltage main power line vault, and the other one's a telecommunications vault. So that's a concern there, but we do have some options that we might be able to work around. I've got a couple ideas we might be able to work around that Dave and I were throwing around this morning. The other option to consider is if we're going to be doing this, if you're looking at a timeline of construction to try to do it in this off-season in the winter, this is a very large masonry structure, and you're going to be trying to do all this masonry work in very cold weather, which is going to be very challenging too. So we have to take that in consideration for the timeline.
Well, I mean, we couldn't get a bid this year anyway, could we? No. Because they start back in March, right?
And I haven't engaged John Jacobs yet on which way we need to go as far as the structure, whether or not we do the retaining wall situation with the ramp or whether the steps. So, plan-wise, we're in good shape either way. We just need the
I
structure,
think
of
you'd have
course.
to do the retaining wall and then fill it, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Laura, would this affect our bond and when it's due? Because this money's,
No, that $300,000 that we have in bond proceeds, this was a part of the money that we borrowed for Depot Street anyway. So as long as we're moving forward with something like this, we can hold that money till next year. They would come back and look at the minutes and the decision by the council.
But we're dipping into that money, right, Laura?
Yeah,
Already?
but there's not the 300. We actually have about 440. And so, but 300 of that is left for this particular project.
Okay, but what'd we end up, 37,000, maybe to stain the dangerous parts of the sidewalk?
Mhm.
Is that what it was, somewhere around in there? Is that all we have left to spend in the bond money?
So we bought the ADA crosswalk. So we're probably right at 300, maybe 310 left by the time we take those other two
That's what I was
purchases out.
getting at.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
With where we are right now, do y'all have, we're not going to be able to start construction this year, I don't think, anyway.
Well, they're just people are going to bid it that much higher if that's what the time constraints we'd put on them.
Yeah.
So
Is it better to wait?
how long would it be before you have bid documents?
Probably have them by maybe mid-February.
Let's see, there's
Depending
no
on,
way.
yeah, if you give me the directions you want to go, if we go with the ramp situation, which is going to be a little bit more difficult as far as structural.
I mean, if we did bid it in mid-February, then, and we say, well, you can't build it past, I don't know, May, or whatever, the Thompsons will work with it, then they're going to say, well, that's a year out. Things could double by then.
Yeah.
So,
There may be, what I would like to do, and Andy and I talked about it this morning, is maybe go and talk to the Thompsons, and I know that that would be creeping into their season, but maybe if we could have maybe a 10-foot buffer onto their property, that allow us to do construction in a better weather situation, and maybe pick some of their stormwater up as well, because they've got a stormwater situation too, and maybe go into a hand-holding concert with them and take care of their stormwater along with ours, and maybe encroach on their property, which would allow us to maybe bypass these vaults that Andy mentioned, and that would allow us access a little bit better. And if they would give us a little bit of a buffer, I think we could maybe do it in a better climate.
I like that. I mean, so what are we after today?
Approving a design option.
Well, we only have one.
That's the,
That's
that's what
viable.
that's what it says.
Yeah.
Consideration to approve a design option.
I got a question, and I'm sorry, Tim, this is your field of expertise as it is yours, Dave. You gave us two options, one of which is the stairs, which we can't do for ADA reasons. Could we do a ramp instead?
On half.
On half of it, a half ramp and half stair.
Or even just all?
Well, no, that's not ADA.
not
You
ADA
hit a
compliant.
stair, that's
It'd
not
be
ADA.
too steep to.
Well, that's what I'm
Dale,
looking
are
at.
you
is-
sure?
Reading
Are
is the
you sure
ADA.
about that we couldn't do that even though we had Eagles Rest as ADA compliant to get to where they're going to go on Depot Street? You know,
And that's what I'm asking, could we replace the stairs with a ramp that wouldn't be the grade all the way down the street? So you kind of have the combination of the two?
What's
got to
the
stay at
slope?
112, right? So if you have stairs, you got, let's just say 7-Eleven.
Right.
There's no way that you can put a ramp on it for partial times that's going to meet 12 to 1.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about partial times, I'm just asking, and once again, I don't know the answer, that's why I'm asking.
We still would have to do those two retaining walls, whether or not they're 10 feet wide or 5 feet wide. It's still,
And I was
that's where
just
the
looking at
money's
the
at.
grade that ran all the way down.
Yeah.
Because I know that's going to,
yeah.
imagine how difficult. So,
If that 172 feet, if it's 18 feet drop,
8 foot 8 inches.
8 feet 8 inches.
8 foot 8.
What is the shortest that could be?
Well, 12, 1 inch and 12. That's the ADA accessible. 30 feet of ramp, and then you can have a 5 foot landing. We've got 10 feet because it's just a little bit better, and then another 30 feet of slope, another rest area. So by the time it gets down there, we've got
Almost
a
the
little
same
bit of
difference.
we pretty well got it all taken care of.
thank you.
Again, I wish it was an easy solution, but it's not.
If we approve the design, we're not saying we're approving the project, correct? According to this, so we know that we have to do the ADA compliant part of this. So if that's what we're voting on, we're not saying we're gonna do the project, we're just voting on the design, then I would make a motion to approve the design for the ADA compliance. If that doesn't, because it's not gonna lock us into paying for this project or doing this project, we're just approving the design, correct?
Because you would do an RFP at that point,
Right.
and then you could see what that comes in at.
Right.
We really don't need to do an RFP right now because we couldn't get started until, you need to talk, you feel comfortable talking to the Thompsons.
Yeah.
We can go ahead.
Yes. What I'd like to do is maybe if with Andy's permission, but
No, he's behind you.
maybe Andy and I go down there and actually talk to the Thompsons and, see if we can kind of reach some kind of a concerted agreement with them on that. And I think we could really kill two birds with one stone that way.
And we've had a couple meetings already.
Yes, right. And they have been very cooperative. But they're just a little bit concerned about the timing more than anything else.
But what about the money? What are we gonna do with that extra $60,000 to $80,000 above the 300?
I guess that's the big question. Do we want to spend all this money, or can we spend all this money? We've got people coming over here, we got people coming over there.
That would be fund balance. That'd be fund balance drawdown. It's not an operating expense since it's capital, so the additional money would come from our
I just had a
reserve.
property owner suggest, have we looked at freestanding steel like Morristown does? Have you ever, I mean, what type of price are we looking at?
With the steel
It's
structure,
not aesthetically pleasing, but
I'm
yes.
sorry, the
You're right, that's correct.
Need to look at the options and maybe see what other options might be out there. We kick the tires on it, on different types of solutions, and I wish there was an easy way. I'm afraid if we start getting in the steel structures, we're going to start having to do maintenance, the painting. It's going to be I think a maintenance issue.
Powder coated steel, how long you get out of that?
It's all dependent on how much salt we put on them during the bad weather, things like that. And it's not the preferred way to go. I'll be honest with you.
No, my preferred way would be what you've got, Dave,
Yeah.
but it's money.
If you keep working on the drawing,
Yeah, we're
And
not
you-
gonna know
you
until
may-
we actually put it out to bid. What that final price tag is going to come in. But working with the contractor here that I've been working with, we've getting up to that 360, 380 number, and then what are we going to do with the stormwater?
well, and I think that needs to be a portion of this project also. And so if we've got the drawing, and then we have them talk to the Thompsons, and then we need to go out and find out how much it's going to cost to get the water out of there. And if this is a $500,000 budgeted ISET amount, then we'll have to really have further discussions. Right now, I'm not sure we're far enough along to really know if there's anything that we need to go forward on. So,
I don't have a problem proving his design concept,
okay.
if that's what we're doing.
Well, he's got a motion.
Got a motion.
You want to second it?
Yes.
Have you got that?
I'm sorry, I didn't know we had a motion.
Oh, I think we did.
We did. We did.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, the like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Full
you.
drawing, Dave.
Item 8.7. Consideration to approve a change order for landfill hydrogeologic investigation in the amount of $57,425. Hello, Mr. Morrison.
Hey, how are we?
Tony is back.
I'm back.
Gimme, 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 gimme.
Yeah. It's all for a good cause, right?
Yes, it is.
We're doing a hydrogeological investigation out there, and it's going to cost more than we first anticipated. So what they've done, they've come in and done the core samples. They got that part done, and they're not seeing anything that would prevent us from constructing a new landfill, so that's good. But we still got to do our drilling of the groundwater monitoring wells. So they'll need this sonic drill to come in to get through the rock and all that, and make the job easier. So, I mean, we don't anticipate using that much money as it says there. It may be between 30 and 40,000 instead of the whole 57. But we'll have to have that. I mean, this TDEC needs all this for us to proceed any further with it. But as our geologists say, they don't see any problem with.
Why did they not include that as the original quote?
Well, I think that LDA had, they wasn't really sure of what the cost would be on that end, and they're working with UES, which used to be Geo Services. And these kind of work's not done very often. You know, there's like 30 landfills out there now. So he's had to bring his drilling crew in from, I believe it's Columbia, Tennessee. So you got all that additional cost with that. But yeah, just more than they anticipated, but I think everything else should fall on schedule.
You also gave me a number of how much we're going to probably spend to get this done and how much it would generate over the next.
They say if costs were to stay the same as they were today, there would be 2.5 million tons that this new landfill would hold. So that would equate to about 125 million. So, and we're looking at maybe 4.5 to 6 million to construct, plus the, you know, the additional, 650,000 for all the testing and the engineering that goes into it. So,
Well, we've got to do something or start sending it somewhere else. There's not many places to send it somewhere else.
I feel we'll be better off to do our own. If not, we're at the mercy of everybody else, and the prices just keep increasing. If, you know, if we had to transport all this. And it's going to be pretty close to being done if everything works out well with TDEC about the time that we're running out of space up here. It's slated to open January of 2028. Oh.
Okay. We've got a recommendation. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes. Is it budgeted, Laura?
This is not, but Tony has the money.
Okay. Way to save, Tony. That was my question.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. 8.8 is consideration of a special event application for GCS Education Foundation to host Mardi Gras Dog Parade on Saturday, February 21st, 2022. Hello, Amanda.
Hello.
She's
I'm
back
not
again.
asking for money, so.
Yay.
Hey.
Yeah, and you had to wait the longest.
That's right. You got a good audience for today. I'm sorry. I did want to say one quick thing though. That house at Green Tech, or students built that house. I guess you guys already knew that, but I just thought that was worth pointing out that students from the city and the county
Oh, did they really?
built that house in maybe the late 70s, I think, as a
You want 'em?
project.
Well,
Oh,
maybe
wait.
they'll give somebody the opportunity to move it.
Yeah.
But it's not livable.
Oh, no, I'm not saying leave it there. I just think it's an interesting fact
Maybe
that
somebody will
students
want it.
built that thing, and they did the electrical work and everything.
That's
So
kind of cool.
It's a good joint project, but probably, yeah, needs to go.
That's why if the water gets, it comes from both.
I have a feeling, the lady that lives in it, because I spent a lot of time with her at the tennis courts, and she says there's plenty of problems in that house, so, yeah, probably needs to move on. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? This event was new last year, and we planned it on fairly short notice last year and did a great job with very short notice. So we're hoping to grow it a little bit this year, and hopefully bring people down on Depot with their pups and have a great afternoon.
Motion
Although-
to approve.
Yeah, motion to approve, and I'll second, but Cal can't bring his dogs down, and I can't bring mine too, because it'll be the dog fight on Depot if
Don't
we
like
end up.
each other.
They don't like each other at all. And you
I'll
can't bring
bring-
Paco either,
I'll bring
Jenny.
Paco. That'll take care of
Keep him in
everybody.
the law, in the car. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Amanda. Item 8.9 is consideration of a special event request for the Christmas season home tour located at 102 Dowdy Avenue.
Yes, I reviewed the application. I've spoke to the owner that's going to be having the event, informed them on how to keep the signs in compliance, and recommend approval.
So
There's
moved.
the owner,
Yeah.
if you want to say hello to him. Okay, we have a motion.
Motion.
Okay, we got a motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Motion with your feet.
time.
Yeah. I'll take a vote.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Tim, thank you for the Christmas card.
I got you, I got you. You want the report or you want the presentation?
We always have.
Just send the
We should, since we always have.
slide deck doesn't have any info with it.
Okay. I got
it is.
Hey,
I got you. Yes, bye, bye. Yes.
See you. Here's a chart with some of those. If you can't read it, let me know. That one, I just scanned it. My phone is one of the huge documents.
Thank you.
I sent you the report and then the feedback report for the city manager search is on the website.
I'll copy it.
Do you need it?
Yeah. Go ahead. Send it to me.
You were
Do
at
you
that
have an
meeting. Did you get a copy? Okay. Okay.
You have an electronic copy of it?
Yes, well,
We got.
they just handed.
That's the one that's on there.
By Monday.
Okay, so,
I'll send you,
we, y'all, council needs to do, and I think the timing is okay. What I want to do is try to get a work session with the city council.
It's not, we're not asking, like, let's.
No, you
commit
videoed
to,
it. You
You know,